So we're moving on to adding integers. And one of the things to remember is that you guys already do this all the time. You just don't think about it. So just as an example, I'll give you that in a second as to what I'm talking about. But here, if the integers have the same sign, you just add and keep the sign. If they have a different signs, then you keep the sign of the one that has the higher absolute value and just subtract. We'll get to what all this means in a second. And remember that some of the positives and negatives cancel each other out. So what I mean by this whole idea of just keep the sign, you do this all the time. 5 plus 3 equals 8. There's a positive sign here and a positive sign here. You just don't see them. We don't normally write them down. So that's just the same way it is down here. So as an example here, -3 plus -2. So what we start is -3 plus -2. They keep the sign, and the answer is going to be -5. And one way of using a number line is to always start off, well, here's negative. Actually, you know what? That there is the wrong one I chose. So here, -3, we'll always start off with the starting point there, -3. And now we're making it 2 less. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 1, or add 1 negative, add 1 more negative. And this makes perfect sense. So if you have 1, 2, 3 negatives, and then you have 1, 2 more, you're going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. Perfect sense. Now, -3 plus, or -5 plus 3, a little bit different problem. Well, what we got to do is we got to figure out the absolute value of this. What's the absolute value of -5? That's going to be 5. What's the absolute value of 3? It's going to be 3. So this here is the one with a higher absolute value. So now we just change it, and we forget about the absolute value thing, and we just remember, well, I've got a negative sign, because this one has the higher absolute value. So now I just changed it into a subtraction problem. 5 minus 3, and that's going to be 2. And that should be our answer. So let's see here. If we start off here at -5, and then we're adding positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Makes perfect sense again. And what I mean by some of the things canceling each other out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus 1, 2, 3. Now, if I give you something and then take it away, then you have the same as you did before. And these cancel out. So this one here cancels out with that one there. This one here cancels out with that one there. This one here cancels out with that one there. So what I mean by that is this whole idea of I've now got this here is 0. This here, 0. This here, 0. And what's the only things that are left now? I've got 2 negatives left. So that makes perfect sense that I've got 2 negatives left because these other ones canceled each other out. Now last problem here, 3 plus -2. So again, absolute value, which is the higher absolute value. In this case here it's positive. We don't need to write down the positive. If you want, feel free to do it. Just as a reminder, 3 minus 2, that's going to be 1. So we start off here at 3 with our point here. Then we're adding -2. So 1, 2. And we're right there, 1. And again, one more time here, we got plus, plus, plus. And then we're adding a negative and a negative. So this cancels out. This cancels out. And what do I have left? I just have 1 positive left. And we are